Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, first of all, I never read the questions beforehand, so what you're getting is my raw, unfiltered opinion. I think that there's a question that potentially could be the subject of a longer video, I will actually make a longer video down the line. So there's that. The other thing is that generally with the Q&As, I film them on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It's currently Wednesday at around about 1 o'clock. I'm filming it today right now, which means that if you want to guarantee to get your question asked, make sure that you get it in before sort of Tuesday evening, Wednesday, and then there's a very good chance I'll answer it. If I miss your question, I'm very sorry. Ask it again. I'll get back to it the following week. Sometimes I do miss questions when I'm filming these, and if that's you, I apologize. With that being said, there's a whole bunch of questions this week. I've just scrolled through. There's a bunch of stuff. So thank you once again for everybody who's asked a question. If it wasn't for you guys asking questions, there wouldn't really be a Q&A. So thanks very much. And without further ado, let's get straight into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from Sting, and Sting says, "Dear Craig, what is your favourite close-up cards across routine?" So what's your favourite cards across routine for close-up? There's, I love cards across. I do so many, and different cards across is a perfect example, actually, because different cards across routines work well in different situations. For close-up, however, there's three that I especially like. The first is, in no particular order, I use all these three all the time. So the first one is the one I tend to use when I'm standing up, when I'm doing walk around. So I'm completely surrounded. I don't have a table. This is one that I do an awful lot. It's the classic cards across. I think the best example of it that you can find is if you watch Bill Malone's DVD set that came out through L&L Publishing. It's the whole idea of having a spectator count 10 cards, palming 3 of them off as they hold on to them, having another spectator count 10 cards, adding those 3 on, having them pick a card, and they pick a 3, and you say, I'm going to make 3 cards jump across, and then they do. You'll see lots of videos on this channel of me doing that in the real world. That's a great trick to do. Walk around, mix and mingle. It can be done completely surrounded. The second one is my invisible cards across routine, which is on Visible, and which is the Visible project that I brought out through the 1914. That is my favorite cards across routine to do when I'm sitting down in like a formal sit down type of performance, and everybody's kind of sitting around with me close up. I need a table to be able to do this. Really, I can do it without a table, but really for it to work as well as I really want it to, I need a table. Now that uses an invisible deck in a way that most people don't think of using an invisible deck, but what I love so much about that routine is you can literally burn my hands. There's no palming, so if people are like really eyeballing you, there is nothing to see. You literally spread off 10 cards, you give it to someone to hold, you literally then have them pick 3 cards, they're lost into the deck, they're put face up in a face down deck, and with no moves, you spread out the deck, the cards have gone, they've now got 13 cards, and when they turn over the 3 cards that have arrived, they are the 3 selected cards. It is that clean, it is that direct, it's that powerful. I love the invisible cards across. And then the final one, what did I call it? This is a routine that I've done for about 3 or 4 years, and it's called Easy Cards Across, EZ Cards Across. That's what it's called. Now, it's a cards across I've done for a very, very long time, never published it. However, I've just written it up for the first time for Mazzle Magazine. If you don't know Mazzle Magazine, it's a magazine produced by Preston Nyman. You can subscribe to it. It comes out monthly, I believe, or bi-monthly. And I'm one of the columnists there. And a lot of people don't realise, but I create tricks and publish them in Mazzle Magazine. And I've just written this up for him to put in the magazine. And let me read the effect out for you. This is probably one of the most clean-looking versions of cards across you'll ever see. 10 cards are counted off the face of the deck and given to the spectator. There really are only 10 cards. 10 cards, another 10 cards are counted off and given to a second spectator. There really are 10 cards with no moves or counts or sleights. The cards are counted, and now one spectator has 7 and the other spectator has 13. It really does look that clean. It's called Easy Cards Across. If you want to learn it, the only place that you can learn it for now is in Mazzle Magazine, where I'm a columnist. So it's really great. So if you go to Mazzle Magazine, I don't know which issue. I've just sent him a year's worth of content for the magazine. So I've literally just sent him like, it's bi-monthly because I've just sent him 6 things. So I've just sent him 6 tricks, and that's one of them. So if you contact Mazzle Magazine and ask when Easy Cards Across is published, they will tell you. But in all honesty, you should subscribe anyway because it's a brilliant magazine. So hopefully that answers your question. So it's Easy Cards Across, invisible, the visible cards across, and then sort of the classic cards across. I think I first saw Bill Malone doing that variation. Okay, so the next question is from Davis West, and Davis says, do you think that mentalism has almost become too good? I recently watched a touring magic show, and overall it was fantastic. The mentalist in the show was doing all these readings that were clearly impossible without some sort of pre-show, guessing birthdays, favourite songs, etc. It wasn't like he was fishing and reading body language. He would just outright say the information. I sat there impressed, but I knew that since nothing had been written down during the show, there must have been some pre-show work. I may be overthinking this, but I do think mental is becoming too impossible, and laymen may start thinking that the only way the mentalist could know was by asking before the show. And do I think that that's the case? It's a really great question, Davis, and I do think that there's a lot of the time when magic is happening on television, I think that, or mentalism in this case, I think there's a inherent desire to kind of go further than anyone's gone before. I'm a wrestling fan, as a lot of you know that watch this channel, and I think this is a perfect example of this was in the Attitude Era of the WWE, when they used to have lots of gimmicked matches, and they used to have more and more outlandish stunts, right? Okay, now we're going to have a tables, ladders, chairs match. Now we're going to jump off a ladder. Now we're going to jump off 2 ladders through 16 tables. And it got to a point where the audiences weren't happy unless they were getting that sort of stuff. And it was just becoming more and more outlandish, and they had to dial it back and kind of almost press a big reset button. So I understand where you're coming from. Like, as every single mentalist goes on the TV, they're looking for ways to have their mentalism become more and more impressive. And I get that. However, I don't think it's too much of an issue. I was doing a close-up job last Friday. Was it Friday? Saturday. I was doing a close-up job last Saturday, and it was a private party. It's a 50th birthday party for a repeat client, very, very well-off gentleman. It took place in a marquee in his home, multi-million-pound house. And they've booked me for numerous events in the past, and when I walked in, I was doing walk around magic, and I bump into Luch, and Luch was doing walk around mentalism. And I said to him, and if you don't know who Luch is, he's incredible, really, really great mentalist. Got some great products as well. And I said hi, and he said hi, and we were chatting beforehand because this was about half an hour before we started. And the photographer came over and asked him and said, hey, I need to take photos. I know a magician where people are going to react, but I don't really know with a mentalist. Can you give me an example? And Luch was like, well, I tell you what, let me show you something, and so you can see sort of how it affects people and where the reaction point might be. And he just did something very, very simple with a Pro Mystic die. He was just very, very simple routine. He gave the guy a die, and he did a 3-phase routine, each phase built, but it was just about predicting a number on a die, really. But the way that Luch presented it and the way that Luch framed it, this guy was just blown away. Now, this is a photographer, a corporate event, a very high-end, well, not a corporate event, private event, but a very high-end event. And this is a photographer who I'm sure has seen some of the best mentalists and the best magicians in the world. And he was flabbergasted. He was just completely blown away with this very simple trick with a die. And that tells you the power that mentalism has on somebody. I don't think that you have to go. I don't think that having somebody go, hey, you're a Pisces and you're born in 19... Blah, 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 even if there's pre-show involved in this guy's show that you're talking about, I don't think it will affect anybody's enjoyment of a mentalism piece, because they'll take each performance as it comes. And the one thing that I learned from Luch is, just from watching that one performance, is you can take something simple. The die the Pro Mystic die or the Anverdi die or whatever you want to use, that's that's almost like a thumb tip to a magician. Like every mentalist has one. And you see a lot of mentalists go, I don't do that. He made a 6-minute routine that blew this guy's mind with just this one simple die. And I think that's what's important. You don't think about what other people have seen or what other mentalists have shown them. You just focus on performing your own mentalism and making sure it's the best it can be. I remember at the London Magic Convention, I was backstage with Ryland, and all the other acts were there. And there was this one act who was, I can't remember his name, unfortunately. It was the 18-year-old that went on after Ryland. Very, very nice guy. Really nice guy. Really, really nice. And from what I understand, a really great act. And he was talking about, oh, do you think they'll let me go up and have a look at all the other acts? And I said, you don't want to. I remember being given some advice by Chris Priest when I was first getting into competition magic. And he turned around to me, and I gave this advice to him. I give it to anybody who would listen. When you're in a magic competition, don't, under any circumstances, watch the other acts, either before or after your performance, because no good will come of it. You have to focus on your own acts. If you watch the other acts and you perceive them not to be as good, it might make you overconfident and then forget something. Or if you end up ultimately not winning, it might make you feel bitter. But more than likely what will happen is you'll look at the other acts and you'll be like, oh my gosh, and then it's going to make you feel nervous, and you're going to not deliver the best performance you can deliver. I remember when I was competing the first time at Blackpool, at the Blackpool Magicians Convention. This is before they actually had a proper... This is after they... this is before they stopped the close-up competition. I was performing, and I went and watched the other acts that were on before me, and I was so confident. I was so convinced I was going to win. I was like, there's no way I can't win. This is a great act. It's unique. It's different. I'd spent a year working it in. I'm like, this is going to win. This is my year. And then I went out and I watched a guy who nobody had heard of at the time, Johann Stahl, who just completely blew the roof off the building and then some. And just watching him, my heart sank. And I gave a performance that wasn't as good as it could have been because of watching him perform. Now, to bring this full circle to your question, when you're performing mentalism, don't worry about what they might have seen or what they might not have seen. Don't worry about what pre-show or what pre-show the person did or didn't do that they saw before you. Just focus on your own performance and making it as good as it can be. Focus on making your performance memorable and make it mean something and make it powerful. And as long as you do that, it doesn't matter what else they've seen. One caveat on this, it's not mentalism, it's magic, but you'll get the point. I remember after Dynamo many years ago, he put the phone in the bottle, and he did it on TV. Every single magician at the time was so annoyed because he was like, oh, it's impossible to do a phone in the bottle. What's going to happen when people ask me to put a phone in the bottle? I'm not going to be able to. Dynamo's ruined magic for everybody because he's done a trick that's impossible for anyone else to do. He doesn't care, and all of this stuff. And everybody was moaning and bitching. And I just used it to my advantage. When somebody said, and they did, can you do the trick that Dynamo did? I can go, yeah, but I can actually do it even better. I can put a coin in a bottle. I can borrow a coin, I can borrow a bottle, and I can put a coin in through the bottom of the bottle. You're not going to believe this. Have you got a coin? Have you got in a bottle? And I did that. And for them, I framed it in a way that made it as impressive as putting a phone in a bottle, if not even more impressive, because I did something slightly different to what they'd seen on TV. And I still use that presentation now. When I do Cube in Bottle, and if you see me do a live performance of Cube in Bottle, you'll know that I lead into it by saying, hey, have you ever seen Dynamo put a cube in a bottle? Put a phone in a bottle. It's a stupid trick. And the reason it's a stupid trick, because even though it looks amazing, you're going to want your phone back, right? The only way to get your phone back is to smash the bottle. So you're left with this memory, but no evidence of this ever taking place. Well, I'd like to give you the evidence of something like that happening right now. And then I push the cube in the bottle. And it becomes more impressive because I give it them as a souvenir. So when you think about, oh my gosh, I can't do this because of this, or I can't do this because of this, don't worry about it. Do the best possible job that you can do and really just believe in your own performance. And then what anybody else does, it won't be an issue. Okay, so the next question is Stuart Etheridge. And Stuart says, how you doing, Stuart, by the way? Very good. Very good magician. Very good magician. Stuart says, the world is about to end. You have 10 minutes to do the magic that defines you as a performer. What do you do? Wow. Okay, so the world's about to end in 10 minutes. What do I do? Well, I'm sure as hell not doing a bloody magic trick. But if I'm forced into it, if I'm forced into doing a magic trick 10 minutes before the world ends, what do I do? Something that defines me as a performer. I think what I'd probably do is I'd do a 10-minute excerpt of my show with Ryland, because at least that would allow me to spend the last 10 minutes with Ryland as opposed to on stage on my own in front of an audience. And you know what? People say, how are you so motivated, Craig? How can you put out so much content? You're so busy. How do you get so much done in one day? Well, the answer is really simple. I'm motivated every single day by Ryland. I say this on the channel all the time, but I mean it. You know, I don't think I would be able to put as much content out if it wasn't for him and his insatiable love of magic and wanting to learn more and more and more. And one of my favorite things is doing a two-person show with Ryland. I don't do a two-person show with Ryland very often because, frankly, he's busy getting his own gigs. He doesn't really need to do the show with me anymore, but we still get booked to do it every so often. New Year's Eve, myself and Ryland are doing an illusion show with Kat for a big client, and that's going to be amazing. And I think we've got a couple over December as well. But by the way, I do a 10-minute set with my son because, frankly, it's spending time with my son that makes me appreciate how amazing magic is. Watching him love magic and watching his reaction to magic through his eyes makes me, it's almost like I'm brand new to magic again. It's amazing. So that's the answer. If I was going to define me as a performer, the thing I'm most proud of as a performer is seeing Ryland grow and develop and knowing that I've had a small part to play with that. So I'd do a 10-minute piece out of our two-person show. Doesn't matter what, as long as I'm on stage with him, that's all I care about. Okay, so the next question is from Daniel Carter. And Daniel says, hey, Craig, what's your favourite use of the Tamariz perpendicular control? I use it as a super clean closer for an ambitious card. It's a very versatile move, so I'd like to hear your ideas. Right, so what's my favourite use of the Tamariz perpendicular control? Well, first of all, I think we need to cover with people what a Tamariz perpendicular control is, because it's a very underused Sleights. And I'll be honest with you, Daniel, don't really use it for that much. I'm like you, I don't really have much of a use for it. I learnt it, but I use it for just one thing, or two things actually. So the Tamariz perpendicular control, let me just expose it for you. And you really should learn this from Tamariz's books, it's brilliant. Is the idea of taking a card and putting it into the middle of the deck. And as you square it up, it goes into a perpendicular position like this. So it goes kind of like that angle, which means that if you straddle the card, you can spread the deck and it really looks fair. It looks like the card is being lost in the deck because you push it in and then you spread through and they can see there's no breaks. You can hold it in a very messy position like this, and then from there there's a million different things you can do with it. Well, I've used it in the past in order to palm a card out in a very fair way, because when the card's in that position, you can put them into your hand and you've immediately got the deck into a bottom, you've immediately put the deck back into your dealing hand and the card is now in a bottom palm position in the left hand. So I can put the deck down or I can hand it out for examination or shuffling and I've palmed the card out. Now that's a really useful thing to be able to do. So imagine that, you know, you just put the card down in the middle of the deck, you apparently lose it in there, and in the action of spreading the deck out to show that it's gone, you're holding it in a very loose position, you can see that there's no breaks, and then you literally put it into your hand. So it does the same thing as a cop does, but the angles are much better because you're not copping it, you're holding it in a full palm. The other way that I use it is in a multiple selections routine, or in a routine where I'm like finding the card several times. I do a lot of routines where I have a card picked and I find it, and then I have another card picked and I force the same card with a classic force, and I do that over and over again, and I have lots of different revelations. And one of the revelations I do when I'm about halfway through this sequence, I'll put the card into the pack and I'll perpendicular control it. And I don't even know if this was a way. This follows up a normal rising card. So let me, I start off by doing the rising card. I first learned, I know it's older than that, but I first learned it from Richard Sanders, the ungimmicked rising card. So, you know, like where you've got this and you've got, well, you'd start off with the card being picked. It gets lost into the middle of the deck. And in the action of coming up here, you're in a situation where you can do this this ungimmicked rise, which is really nice. And it leaves the card sticking out the middle of the deck. So I can then push that card into the deck, perpendicular control it. And now I can say, well, let me see if I can do this again. But this time I'll try and make it rise up in a very strange way. And I kind of go up and down. And I just use the thumb to push the card up, but it rises up in a different direction, which is really strange. And then I can show it like that. So those are really the only two reasons that I use it. But there's a lot more you can do with the perpendicular control. It's a great control. I don't hear many people talking about it. But yeah, Daniel, so anybody else do the perpendicular control? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is from Sting. And Sting says, hello again, Craig. Hope you're all fine. Inspired by this video, my first question is, what are your top 5 ways to force anything but playing cards? For example, forcing any item on a dinner table completely impromptu. I don't even know if I know 5 methods for doing that, to be honest, Sting. I can think of 3 that I use on a fairly regular basis. I'll go through the 3 that I use. Let's say I've got a wallet. This is the blinds gimmick, by the way, which you're going to see a full review of later on this evening on the review show special. This is Blinds by Mark Bennett. Let's do a poker chip as well. We've got a poker chip here. What else we got? We got a coffee mug, a playing card. There we go. Should we do 5? What else are we going to do? A purse. There you go, a purse. There you go. We've got 5 random objects here. So the first would be Equivoke. So, which is obviously the classic Equivoke. It'd be very easy. However many objects you've got, it's very easy to use Equivoke. So, for example, I've got Jack behind the camera. Jack.
Hello.
I've got a wallet. I've got I've got a poker chip. I've got a mug. I've got a card, and I've got a purse.
Yeah.
Do me a favour. If you were going to pull 2 toward, let's say I wanted to force the mug. If you were going to pull 2 towards yourself, what would you pull towards yourself?
Poker chip and the card.
So you do that, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now what I want you to do with your left hand is pick up one of the objects. What are you going to pick up?
The poker chip.
No, out of the 3 that are left. Which one would you?
The purse.
Purse? With your left hand, pick up the purse. And what would you pick up with the right hand?
The brown wallet.
The brown wallet. Okay, perfect. And that would leave us with the mug. Yes?
That's right.
Perfect. So there you go. So that's an example of Equivoke. It would be much easier if he was sitting here with me. In fact, come and sit down here for a minute. This is Jack. He's currently working. What are you working on at the moment, mate?
Just sorting out the Netrix stuff.
Sorting out there for the upload on Monday.
Yep.
Okay. It'd be easier if we do it this way. Okay. So this is going to be a force of the mug. So, Jack, with your... I want you to pull 2 of the objects towards yourself. Any 2. Those 2, yeah?
Yep.
Perfect. So that leaves us with the poker chip, it leaves us with the mug, and it leaves us with the wallet.
Yep.
With your left hand, pick up one of the objects. Perfect. And with your right hand, pick up one of the objects. Excellent. So we're down to 2. Final decision. Hand one to me. You sure you want this?
Yep.
That's what we're going to go for. And I've forced the mug. So that would be a simple case of Equivoke. No matter how many items that you've got, it's very easy to use Equivoke to do that. You know, I don't need to go through Equivoke on this video, but very, very quickly, when they pull 2 towards themselves, if they pull the mug, you obviously, I'm forcing the mug in this case, so if they pull 2 towards themselves and you've pulled the mug towards yourself, you act like that was their decision. So you've got these 2. If they do what Jack did and pulls another 2, then you say, brilliant, so that leaves us with these 3. Then if you say pick up, you know, with your left hand, pick up one of the objects, if they pick up the mug, you go, brilliant, that's your decision, right? Yeah. If they pick up this and then pick up this, you go, brilliant, so that leaves us with the mug. And if you do what Jack did then, you go pick up one with the left hand, one with your right hand, final decision, hand one to me. If they hand you the mug, brilliant. If they hand you the wallet, what does that leave you with? The mug. So it's a very easy way to just put some objects on the table and force a mug. The second way of doing it is a timing force. So let's say I want to force the wallet. I'm going to say, Jack, here's what I'm going to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. I'm going to count through them like this and just say stop anytime you want to. Stop. There, you sure?
Yep.
Okay, the wallet. And that's a force of the wallet. Now, that's a timing force. It's based on... Thanks for helping me with this, Jack. No, you can stay here for a second because I've got one more after this. It's based on the old timing force with the deck of cards. So if I want to force the 2 of spades, you're going to say, look, Jack, anytime you want to, just say stop. Stop. There. And that would be the 2 of spades. It's based on that, but with objects on the table. So you start off by saying, I'm going to go through these objects and you're just going to say stop before I get to the end. And you set that pace there. So they're used to the fact that you're going through them very quickly. So you say, Jack, I'm going to go through these objects. Anytime you want to, before I get to the end, you're going to say stop. Do you understand? And as you say, do you understand? And they're going, yeah, you already start counting. So by the time they're thinking about this, you're already at the second object. And they can see the pace. So they're going to go, well, we'll stop there. They're always going to stop on this one. So let's do it again. Jack, I'm going to go through these objects like this, okay? Before I get to the end, anytime you want to, just say stop. Stop. There, the wallet. Now, that happens 100% of the time. But if it goes wrong, you can go, I tell you what, let's this time go for a different one. So, Jack, I'm going to go through these objects anytime you want to. Just say stop, okay?
Stop.
The mug. I'm going to do it again. Just say stop.
Stop.
The wallet. Now, pick one up and hand it to me. Perfect. Let's go with the mug, shall we? And there's the force. So that's a timing force. And the other one that you can use is the patio force, which stands for pick any two, eliminate one. So let's say I want to force the purse. Jack, I'm going to have you pick up two objects, any two of the objects, and I'm going to pick one to eliminate. Then I'm going to pick up two, and you're going to pick one to eliminate. We're going to keep going until the end.
Okay.
So I'll start. Which one do you want to eliminate?
The poker chip.
Poker chip is gone. Now you pick up two. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the wallet. Perfect. So now I'll pick up two.
Yep.
Which one are you going to eliminate?
The cards.
Cards. And you're obviously left with these two. And I will pick this to eliminate. And we're left with the purse, which is what I wanted from the beginning. It's patio force. Pick any two, eliminate one. So in other words, if you've got 5 objects, it works with any amount of objects. But all I have to do is I make sure that the 2 objects I pick up that he can eliminate from are not the force object and not the purse. Whilst when he picks up 2 objects, if he picks up my force object, I just pick the other one. So let's just do it again. So I say, right, I'm going to pick up 2 objects. Which one do you want to eliminate?
The wallet.
The wallet. So the wallet's gone. Now you pick up 2. Okay, so now he's picked up the purse. So I'm going to go, let's eliminate the mug. So the mug goes. And then I'm going to pick up 2. I pick up these 2. I'm not going to pick up the force item, so I'm going to pick up these 2. Which 2 do you want to eliminate? Which one?
Cards.
Cards. And I go, well, that leaves you with these 2. I'll get rid of the poker chip. It feels really fair, but it's a way of always making sure that you've got the purse. Thanks, Jack. I really appreciate that, buddy.
Nice.
So there you go. That is, I haven't got 5 off the top of my head. Just thinking about this very quickly. I don't really have 5 of them. I have 3. I can't think of anything else, but to be honest, those are the 3 that I would use the most in an impromptu situation. Those are the 3 that work the best: the patio force, equivoke, and a timing force. So hopefully that answers your question. Can't think of another couple, but if I do, I'll let you know. Okay, so the next question is from One Tepper One. And One Tepper One, this is a perfect question to answer after what I've just done. Because what I've just done is I've had Jack, who's not a magician, sit down with me, and in front of him, I've explained how 3 forces are done. So this kind of relates to what One Tepper One's saying. I think videos where you expose Sleights, he's talking about the video I put up on Monday, the 5 controls and how to do them, the tutorial special. I think these videos where you expose Sleights should be filmed by yourself alone, or maybe with Matt, since he's now also getting into learning magic. Just put a camera on a stand. No need to have a layman recording and getting in on how the Sleights are done if they're not already into learning magic. And I understand where you're coming from. I really do understand where you're coming from, but you're completely wrong. And let me explain why you're completely wrong. You're completely wrong for a couple of reasons. Now, the first reason is, if you've ever... I do an illusion show, right? So I get booked an awful lot by corporates to produce a VIP. That happens an awful lot. When you're an illusionist and you do a big stage show, there's a lot of times where you get booked to like make a VIP appear on stage, or to make like a CEO or somebody appear on stage, or a celebrity or something like that. And I've got 4 or 5 different ways of doing that. You'll also get booked sometimes to, you know, maybe float them up in the air or saw them in half or anything like that. There's a million different things that you might get asked to do. Now, when that happens, you have to expose that illusion to a bunch of people. You have to expose it to the person who's actually going to be made to appear. You're going to have to expose it to, if you're at a big corporate conference, for example, all of the PA staff, all of the staff, all of the PA team, the tech team, the lighting team, the sound team, the waiters and the waitresses are probably walking around setting up the room when you're actually going through how all this works. When you're actually out performing in the real world, especially when it comes to big stage illusions, you know, there's a lot of people who have to be in on the trick. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's a different scenario here, except it is, other than there's something you need to understand. A couple of things. First of all, you're saying film this stuff in front of Matt. Matt is a full-time employee of mine. I pay him to sell packages to customers of Slightly Unusual and Non-Stop Kids. And he that's his job. Now, I already pull him off his job enough by bringing him in for mat tests and the Matometry and God knows what else I'm doing with him. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Magic TV doesn't pay my bills. What pays my bills and keeps this business in place is my entertainment companies, and he's an employee of my entertainment companies. He's there to sell product so that my business turns over money and so therefore can pay staff wages and continue to exist, right? If I'm pulling Matt in every time I'm doing a video that requires somebody learning how a trick's done, I'm never going to have a successful business because I'm pulling him in here every few minutes. In terms of putting a camera on a stand, that's not going to work either. Because a lot of the time, if I'm doing a sleight and teaching how a sleight works, if I've got a camera on a stand, they're not going to be able to see. If you look at those tutorial specials, Jack's freehanding it and he's bringing the camera in on a tripod so that you can see exactly how they're done. So that wouldn't work. And also, the other thing that you need to understand is that within my company, I've got two people that work in the marketing department, Michael and Jack. Now, between them, they cover the marketing for the whole of the company. So they do all of the content marketing and all of the marketing for Non-Stop Kids and Slightly Unusual, and marketing myself as a performer as well. They update all of the websites. We've got over 15 websites in these companies. They market Ryland. They do all of the marketing for all of the content marketing, all the blog writing. Now, Michael also takes the lead on Magic TV. So all of the videos that you see, he edits them. He uploads most of them as well. Well, Jack does all of the stuff for the Netrix. So Jack does all of the filming for the Netrix. He does all of the editing for the Netrix, and also he manages the Netrix platform. So when things are getting uploaded, he's the one that's uploading it. If you are in the Netrix and you're in the community of the Netrix, you'll see that Jack's constantly posting in there going, hey, we've just made this update, we've just updated this, we've just updated that. Now, he's exposed to magic all of the time. It's part of his job. It's like if you're a videographer, if you work for right, okay, let's use Britain's Got Talent, for example, or any of the Got Talents. If you work on Got Talents, you're going to know how a lot of these tricks work, or all of these tricks. Like when Ryland was doing BGT, every single person who was working on that set knew how that illusion worked and how that cube routine worked, because they needed to get it from various different camera angles. There's probably about 100 people that are involved in that, in filming BGT, that knows how every single trick that every single act does. They have to know in order to put the product out that they put out. Jack works in my company uploading stuff to YouTube and uploading stuff to Netrix. He has to be aware of how all of this stuff works. Yeah, how is he going to edit a video for the Netrix if he can't watch the video? If he's not there filming it, he's not going to know how to edit it. He's not going to be able to tag it. Okay, you need this sleight, you need the other sleight, you need the other sleight. It's just not going to happen. And Jack's a busy guy. How many blogs you wrote this week, Jack? So far.
6 for NSK.
6 for Non-Stop Kids.
1 for SU.
1 for SU.
Probably many more to come.
And probably many more to come. How many websites have you updated or built?
So, when Luke was here, he and I built...
No, this week.
Oh, just this week. We're updating the SU site at the moment.
SU site's getting updated.
Ryland's just had his website published.
Ryland's just had his website published.
We was updating the NSK website as well.
Updating the NSK website. And you've done some stuff on Netrix, haven't you, with the categories section?
Yep.
There you go. And how many courses you're in the middle of editing for Netrix at the moment?
We're currently doing the 6 magic ones.
The 6 magic ones. So do you see what I mean? I mean, am I supposed to do all of that myself? Am I supposed to be the guy sorry, Jack, you can't do anything to do with the Netrix. You can't do anything to do with any of that because I can't have you seeing how the tricks work. Like, it's insane. Having said that, Jack probably knows more magic than most laymen, but still gets fooled by absolutely everything.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time. So I understand your concern, but in the real world, it doesn't work that way. You know, like, what I'm doing here is I'm publishing content on YouTube. I can't do it without a team around me. It's like, as I say, the perfect example is AGT or BGT. You know, they can't have nobody in the room with the magic acts. You know, that's not going to happen. Everybody who's involved in the production of that TV show needs to know how that trick works, right down to the people that are doing the, the setting out of the stage, and absolutely everybody. They're all going to need to know how everything works, and that's unavoidable, unfortunately. I understand about keeping a secret, but when it comes to, scaling up and productivity, it's not always possible. Okay, so the next question is from Sting again, and Sting says, Dear Craig, when will the next review show Revisited be coming? Hopefully soon. It takes a while for those to be done because we have to go out into the real world and perform the stuff that we've reviewed, and it takes a while to actually do that. But they will be coming, and they will be coming soon. We're going to the House of Secrets, myself and Ryland, over the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when we tend to film a lot of the review show Revisited stuff. So I imagine that before Christmas we'll have 1 or 2 more episodes. It's not always going to be a weekly thing. It's going to be an as and when thing because it's one of the more difficult things to film. And we're out on location all of the time doing all of the filming for the Matchumentary at the moment. So I've only got a certain amount of time in the day, but I will be doing another review show Revisited soon. Okay, one final question from Sting, and Sting says, Hey Craig, love your stuff. Thank you very much, man. You mentioned in a previous video that your Vanishing Ink Masterclass will have some tricks using the WoW gimmick. Which version will you be using? Oh, hang on. Sorry, I've gone and asked 2 questions then. Sorry, Sting, what's your absolute #1 stage routine? I just skipped on to the next question. I'm so sorry. So the last question by Sting, what is your absolute #1 stage routine? If I'm doing an illusion show, it's the Split Press or the Homicide by Guy Barrett. I think they're both absolutely brilliant. If it's the 2-person stage show that I do with Ryland, it would have to be the Vanishing Stool Illusion by Blake Voigt, which I love. It brings the house down. And if we're talking about my personal stage routine, I would have to say my YMCA routine, which is my bread and butter. It's the routine that I do more than anything else. It's literally taken me around the world, that trick has. I've never put a video of it online, and maybe I will at some point. I think I'm going to be doing it on the Netrix soon, but it's my signature piece on stage. I love that trick. So yeah, if it was me, the YMCA routine, 2-person show, the Vanishing Stool, and the illusion show would have to be the Split Press or the Homicide. Okay, so the next question, it's the question that I skipped to a second ago by Junior Rodriguez. Hey Craig, love your stuff. You mentioned in a previous video that your Vanishing Ink Masterclass will have some tricks using the WoW gimmick. Which version will you be using? Just the standard version, man. Just not the face down version or anything fancy or the blank version. Just the standard face up WoW. I think I use a WoW 3. I think it is. So just the normal face-up WoW, that's all you need. If you get yourself one of those, that's all you're going to need to be able to learn all of the routines with the WoW. Okay, so the next question is from Carl Jensen, and Carl says, what are some of your favourite deck switches? I've got a bunch, to be honest. There's a lot of deck switches that I love using. I love the one that Greg Wilson put out a few years ago. That's really good. There's a really cool one by Roberto Giobbi in one of the card colleges, which is excellent. He's got a book out called The Art of Switching Decks or something like that. I can't remember. But there's a couple of really cool deck switches in there. The Cooler is an incredible deck switch that I love doing. But I think my favourite deck switch of all time just has to be shoving it in your pocket. That's it. You know, looking for that misdirection moment where you can naturally go into your pocket. So let's say I want to switch for a blank deck. I have somebody pick a card. They pick a card and I go, can you sign that for me? Let me just grab a pen. Both hands go into the pocket. You come out, bringing the pen out. You hand them the pen to sign the card, and you've switched the deck and you put it to one side. With enough time misdirection, that is all that you need. One tip, if you're going to do that, is when you put your hands... First of all, always tell people you're going to go you're putting your hands in your pockets. Don't just put it in, it looks suspicious. So once they've picked that card from that regular deck, and you go, brilliant, I want you to sign this, I'll just get a pen. I'll just get a pen, tells them you're going to go into the pocket. Both hands go into the pocket, and if you're searching for the pen, You're switching the deck, you do a slight body turn, hiding the fact that you're searching. So you do a slight body turn with the hand that's switching. Your left hand, or the hand that's not switching, comes out first, holding the pen. So the thing that you're looking for, you bring out first. Everyone's attention is on that. You give that to the person to sign the card in this example. And a second later, the hand comes out with the deck that you've switched in. You just put it to one side without paying any attention to it, and you focus attention on the pen. You then put time misdirection in between when they sign the card and when the deck is shown to be blank, and you have the perfect deck switch. In all honesty, I think we look for these wonderful, weird and wonderful objects that are used to switch decks, and they're all great. But I think that using misdirection and a bit of basic sleight of hand is the best way to do it. I mean, just ask Sean Farquhar. He made a career out of doing something similar to that. Okay, so the next question is from Nevio. Nevio said, "Hi, Craig. Just a friendly reminder. Last week I asked for a budget-friendly PA system. Thanks for searching it up." Yes, mate, I have it here. I remembered. It is the QTX QR10 PA Portable Active PA System. I'm in the UK and I can get one of these for £195. Some kids entertainers will tell you, no, you should get a Bose, you should get a, like spend a fortune on a PA system. And it is true. Having a good PA system is important. But when you, there's nothing wrong with a QTX, especially, yes, if you're doing a corporate show in front of 1,000 people, this ain't going to cut the mustard. But for most gigs, family events, kids parties, this is fine. It's wireless operating frequency, self-contained portable PA unit, mic and line inputs with volume control. You can get a nice little Bluetooth mic to put in it. Here we go. The QTX QR10 portable active PA system is a self-contained portable PA system unit. The built-in amplifier can be conveniently operated from either mains power or the internal battery. The versatile PA system features 2 wired microphone inputs, an auxiliary line input, and it's got a record function. It comes supplied with a neckband wireless microphone and built-in receiver with the mixer amp section on the rear panel. It's a great PA system. So if you're looking for a budget-friendly PA system that won't break the bank, this is a good first step. I'd recommend it. Okay, so the next question is from Lee Milne, magician and ventriloquist, and Lee says, "Hi Craig, hey buddy. Will you still be going ahead with the business channel you spoke about? You always said it would happen when you hit 10,000 subs. Cheers, buddy. Keep up the great work." No, it's not. And the reason it's not, there's a couple of reasons. One, I chose to put all of the business content onto the silver level of the Netrix. When I put business stuff on YouTube, every single time I've put business stuff on YouTube, it ended up just people not watching it. It got the lowest views. And I think it's because a lot of people just aren't interested in the business of magic. And that's fine. I'm passionate about business growth. I'm passionate about entrepreneurialism and business development. I'm passionate about marketing and sales. And so for me, I really dig that stuff. A lot of people don't, and that's absolutely fine. But I know what would happen if I put videos out on a new channel and it got 10 views and 10 views and 10 views. At some point I'd just be like, well, there's no point. And I really think that the stuff that I speak about marketing and sales, I think it's I think it's really good stuff, and I think I think it would be a shame to put it out there and nobody view it. So it goes on the silver level of the Netrix, so people that are really serious about growing their business, they can get access to that information on there. And that seems like the best place to put it. And we've got tons. Jack, how many business courses have we got on the Netrix right now?
Oh, quite a few dozen.
A few dozen. That's on top of the stuff in the bronze level, all the tricks, right?
Yep.
So a few dozen, and we've got another one that we've got to film tomorrow. Remember? So all of the business stuff goes there, and interviews with business experts and so on and so forth. That all goes into the Netrix. Okay, so the next question is from Graham Trevitt, and Graham says, will the Flipper project, the Penguin Flipper project, include the gimmick, or it's a tutorial masterclass for those that already own one? I think they'll probably, I don't know. I'm not Penguin. I don't own Penguin. I have nothing to do with them other than being one of their artists. However, if I was doing this project, I would give people an option. It's like, hey, you can get it as a download, or you can get an option where you have it as a physical product with the actual Flipper coin. And I think that you give them a choice of one or the other. I think that would be the best option. A little bit, they've done that in the past, so I think they'd probably go down that route, but I don't know. The best thing to do is to speak to Penguin, because I've got no idea. I just shot everything. They've got, as I said to you last week, they've got everything that they need. From my point of view, they've got everything. Now it's a case of them putting it all together. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Sutra, and Adrian says, "Hi Craig, on your trailer for the Vanishing Ink Masterclass, you say it's all about tricks and that those looking for theory should look elsewhere, which leads me to the question, which is, what are your favourite books or resources on magical theory?" Very good question, man. Very, very good question. I would say, let me give you a few in no particular order. Showmanship for Magicians by Magic and Showmanship. Who wrote that book? Magic and... is it Hemming Nelms? Magic and Showmanship. Magic and Showmanship by Henning Nelms, yeah. Magic and Showmanship by Henning Nelms is a great book. It's by Dover Publications. I would highly recommend that. I remember that having a big impact on me when I first got into magic. The next one that I would say, and this is a book of tricks and theory, so you've got a bit of both, but the theory is amazing. The Books of Wonder by Stephen Minch. Stephen Minch is incredible at writing books, but Tommy Wonder was one of the great thinkers of magic, and the Books of Wonder are incredible. I would also say Strong Magic by Darwin Ortiz. You can still get this, I believe. I think it's still available. Darwin Ortiz, his books are always thought-provoking, but Strong Magic was really all about the theory. So I'd recommend that. Let me think. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a book that's not really designed for magicians, but I think it's probably one of the most important books that you could read, and definitely theoretical. Maximum Entertainment by Ken Webber is another book that's really, really good, and I'd highly recommend as well. So those are the jumping off points. Those are the starting points that I'd recommend. Okay, so the next question is from Choice Environments, and Choice Environment says, "Craig, why?" He's talking about the Matchamentary episode 2. If you haven't seen the Matchamentary episode 2, or if you haven't heard of the Matchamentary, it's a video series we're doing on Magic TV. It drops on Tuesdays, and it's turning Matt into a magician, taking him from Muggle and turning him into a magician. And episode 2 was about getting him to go out and do a magic trick. And I taught him Crazy Man's Handcuffs, and then off the back of that, I taught him Back in Time by Jay Sankey. And you can go look at that. It's had great reviews, and thank you to everyone that said nice things about it. And Choice Environment says, "Craig, why? Why do it like this? I agree with Crazy Man Handcuff is a great place to start, but all you did was show him the move and then put him in a room for an hour to practice. Practice what? You need to be there to teach him the whole routine. Of course he got it wrong. He had no one to teach him, no time to practice. I really think you're going about this the wrong way. He wants to learn. Show him how to do handcuffs properly. You can record yourself teaching it and then put him in a room, watch the tutorial, having at least that to help him. I think he'd do great. This putting him in a room for an hour to practice alone without you doesn't seem like it's working very well. When he got hold of a little more tutelage, he killed it. I love when he got the card trick down. Great performance. He's a good actor, isn't he? He just needs you a little more, Craig. He needs you to learn magic. Man, you're so lucky. I wish someone who had somebody who wanted to learn from me. Great video." Dude, you do realise that was an edited video, right? You get that. I don't want to put like a 3-hour YouTube video together. We edited it down. You do realise that there's like moments in there that's comedy effect, like the moment in the video where it's like 2 weeks later, 3 months later. You do realise that all of that we're trying to make it entertaining as well as actually putting across. So everything is real. He's learning magic for real, and the stuff that I'm teaching him you're seeing, but I'm not going to put a video on for 2 hours and just film the whole thing. For a start, it's going to expose everything, which I don't really want to do. Like, he wasn't just, I know on the video there was a montage of him just learning how to do Crazy Man's Handcuffs, and there was an element to that as well, but I spent about an hour and a half with him, guiding him through it, guiding him through which fingers to hold and where to hold it, and there's a lot more to it than what you're seeing on the video. Trust me, I know what I'm doing with this, and what you're seeing isn't just the only stuff that's taking place. But if I just literally put everything up on YouTube, it would be a 5-hour video every single week. So I appreciate your concern, but please don't be worried. I am giving him... I've been teaching magic for a long time, and I know how to teach people magic, and I know how to do it the right way. Trust me, there's a lot more that's happening than what you're seeing. Okay, so the final question today is from Vinod Furtado. And Vino Furtado says, what's the best linking rings to buy as a beginner? Good tutorial, reasonable price. I would look into anything by Matthew Garrett. Matthew Garrett has the Ninja Plus range. And you can get just standard linking ring routines from him. You can get linking finger ring routines from him where the fingering links onto the ring. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. His GIR is amazing, and he teaches it all very, 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 very well. So I'd recommend going and checking out Matthew Garrett stuff. Just search Ninja Plus Matthew Garrett. He's got a whole bunch of different downloads and DVDs and all different things. He's a very good teacher of magic, and his props are also of very good quality. So that is what I would go for. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. I really appreciate it. For every single person that has picked up a subscription to the Netrix by using the Black Friday deal, thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already done so, you can go and check out the Netrix by going to www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. There is a code that is appearing on the bottom of the screen. It will also be in the description down below, and that code will give you 1 month free. At the end of the month, if you want to cancel, you can, and you won't be charged anything. Although, in all honesty with you, we've got a 0.06% cancellation rate, because anybody who joins, they see how much content is on there and how much we continually upload, and they just stick around. And we are just constantly working every single day to update it even more. If you want to try it out for a month, please do so. Use the code down below. It's completely free. You stick around on Magic TV, because this evening I have got a review show special on blinds by Mark Bennett, which is one of the best peak wallets or peak devices I've ever seen. And I will be back again soon. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you have a great Sunday. My name's Craig from Magic TV.